Before we get into today's episode, here's what you're about to hear. This week's astrology is centered on a full moon in Scorpio, falling on Beltane, the ancient fire festival of desire and aliveness. And what that combination tends to do is bring up the things you have been very carefully not looking at. Not loudly, just clearly. So today we're talking about the gap between the life you are performing and the one you actually want. We are going to give you a way to identify what is running on autopilot, what you've been afraid to want, and what it might feel like to actually choose. This one is going to ask something of you, and we think you're ready for it. Let's jump in.
Welcome back to High Heels to Happy Feels. I'm Natalie,
And I'm Stephanie.
and we're going to start today with one question. One that I have a feeling is going to be very present for a lot of people right now and in the week ahead. When is the last time you actually did something, not because you were supposed to, not because it looked right on paper, not because it made logical sense even, but genuinely made you feel alive?
I got to say, that question is way more uncomfortable than it sounds.
That's exactly why I asked it.
Because most of us have a very polished and very quick answer ready. Oh, I love my work. I love my people. I love my life. And then 2 seconds later, or 3 a.m. in the morning, you're staring at the ceiling, right? Wondering why nothing feels like enough.
There is something heading our way this week, and I don't mean that in a vague everything is energy way. I mean it in very specific, you cannot look away from yourself kind of way. Something is about to ask a question of a lot of people, and the question is, what are you actually hungry for?
I love
And
that.
yeah, you may find yourself like mid-sentence describing your life the way you would describe it to a stranger, like not the way you actually experience it. I kind of think of it like a version like you're narrating it.
Isn't
Something that like the version that sounds correct while, something underneath might be going on.
right? That elevator pitch that we're all trained to give of ourselves, right? Kind of, here's the press release version of my life.
Exactly. And you hear yourself say it and something just like winces.
Yuck.
Yeah, there is also something coming with desire, like specifically around wanting things that feel like they should not be what you want, if that makes sense.
It
Like,
does. Yeah.
yeah, and I think people are gonna have these quiet, like private moments of, I do not actually want this career, or I am not sure I want this relationship, or even something as simple as, I don't want to spend time with these people anymore, and I don't know why.
God, those are such hard questions too, right? And everyone can relate. And the tricky thing about these realizations is they don't come with a solution. You don't
Right.
suddenly know all of a sudden. It's not like, aha, I want this. And you just know. You just know what you don't want anymore, what you do not want to do, right?
Which is actually its own kind of information, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. Valid. Yes, it is.
Yeah. And then, there is the conversation thing. Things that were supposed to be resolved and apparently were not. So, like, old conversations are going to find maybe new entrances this week, and people just need to be aware of that.
Oh my God. And that's a really valid because like I swear to you, in the last, I don't know, week, 2 weeks, thereabouts, I've had at least 3 to 4 people come out and they're like, I have said something out loud and I had no clue where it came from. Like the truth just snuck out of their mouths sideways.
Right. And that's the problem because, like, especially when it comes out sideways, you're not putting it back.
No, there's no putting the genie back in that bottle, right? You can't do it. And it's terrifying, but at the same time, all of a sudden they're kind of relieved because, all right, it's out. What are you gonna do?
Right? Exactly. The other kind of energy that I is going to be around this week is what it's feeling like is um like a flavor of restlessness. So not quite anxiety, not quite sadness, more like an itch in a place you can't reach. You're
Mm,
fine, life's fine. something, is deeply unsatisfied and you do not want to be ungrateful. And this is the energy I'm sensing it. I'm right there with this. And you try to file it under, I am tired or I am in a phase, but it keeps coming back up.
Oh my God, it's that 7 year itch. I so get this, everybody. I so get this. I mean, I could ramble about personal stories, but my sister knows me well. How I've moved around, how I've never stayed in the same house longer than 4 or 5 years, right? I'm like, nope, time to move. We got something change. This one we're remodeling, or otherwise I'd have really been frustrated with it by now. I mean, it's that, yeah, it's totally a cycle. And what you're calling anxiety might just be a desire that you haven't put a name to yet. You just haven't named it.
Yep. And that is the whole episode right there.
Yeah.
What is interesting though is this is not just personal. It's like showing up culturally in very specific ways. Like there's a growing conversation, especially among people who followed their perfect programming, like getting the degree, built the career, made the moves, optimized the choices. And somewhere around that 5 or 10 year mark, or that 7 year you were just talking about, they're arriving at that very specific realization of I built a life that I thought I wanted, and I'm not sure I actually wanted it. And I'm not sure I was even the one who wanted it at all.
Oh my God. Isn't that so valid? It's that I did everything they told me crisis of our lives.
Totally. And it's not just a personal crisis, it's literally showing up in cultural conversations around ambition, success. What is success supposed to feel like? Around the fact that people are deeply burnt out, not just in working too hard, but in wanting the wrong things for too long. Because there's a particular exhaustion that comes from pursuing something that doesn't actually belong to you. It's different than burnout, although burnout totally valid. And burnout is when you've given too much. This is something more like desire deficit,
I
where
love that. Desired deficit.
right? And you have been disciplined and responsible and strategic. And somewhere in there, you stopped consulting yourself about what you actually want.
You know what's interesting? That cultural moment that really crystallizes all of this for me, people taking that public break, right?
Mhm.
With whatever script they've been following. I mean, people are just doing this publicly. They're coming out and doing that. You see people leaving the really impressive careers. I mean, I'm one of them.
Yeah, I could say something about that.
I'm one of them, right? I got 4 days left of that corporate job and 30 years in this. And but you see people leaving relationships that looked fabulous on paper, right? You never know what's going on behind closed doors. Choosing something smaller that's stranger s- or slower. Um, but people's reactions to it are so interesting. I think that's
Mhm.
the best part about it because you half the people are like, "Oh, you're so brave," and the other half are, what the hell are you thinking? Why would you give that up?
Oh, that is so true.
Yeah,
Because brave is what we say when someone does the thing we have been afraid to do ourselves. So I can totally see the flip side of that coin because I yeah, there's so many people in conversations, and Stephanie's already said the elephant in the room. She's got 4 days left in a 30-year career. Yeah, which is, and it's an impressive career. But there are friends of ours who are like, WTF?
oh
Why?
yeah, yeah.
Why, when
I
you're
would,
at this pinnacle, would you
uh-huh,
be like jumping off the cliff into something that is so unknown? And
uh-huh.
then there's others who are like, good for you, girl. You're gonna get, it's just crazy to see. Yeah.
It's nuts. And the things, why would you give that up? The constant conversation about the steady income. And it's a good income. It's cush. Um, to do something, but it's a heart following, if not now when kind of moment, right? But when someone says that, it threatens that framework for me. Why would you give that up? It puts those questions and it threatens the framework of everything we're living inside with everyone around us and how we're letting perceptions or judgment of others when they don't know what's in our heart and in our soul.
Yeah, that is so true. And there is also a conversation happening around desire and connection that feels specific to right now too. And it's a slow, quiet, but real shift in how people talk about what they want in relationships and friendships. So I know we were talking about career and stuff, but this is also happening in friendships and relationships. Like Less, this is what I'm supposed to want, and more, this is what I actually feel alive around. And sometimes those two things match, and sometimes they don't.
And when they don't, people are going to start being honest about it in ways that were not maybe as common or as bold or as expressive as they were a few years ago.
Which is uncomfortable for everybody involved and also very necessary.
Absolutely. Sometimes you just got to rip a band-aid, but let's walk through this because astrologically for this week ahead, starting today, I think that there is a lot that is going to help explain all this energy, and I'm going to try to avoid any of the heavy jargon. So bear with me as we go through this.
Oh, good for us. Let's do it.
Let's do it. The centerpiece after tonight, because tonight we have Uranus shifting it from Taurus into Gemini. It'll be the first time it's entered Gemini in 84 years. Uranus is the rebel, Gemini is communication and duality, and it's a very heavy air sign. So it's a lot. And so things that maybe you weren't speaking about before, your rebel yell, and I should just use that as a hashtag because it really is going to be a rebel yell. So just get ready for this
That's a
weekend.
fun hashtag anyway. Like,
Right? Rebel yell.
okay.
Bringing out the old Billy Idol and our high
Yeah.
school rebel pride. Go Columbine Rebels. Woo!
Yay.
Woo! All right. We threw them in. Um, but after that, so going through this whole week ahead, I mean, there's a whole lot of shifts happening, but we have a full moon next week, and it's falling on the same day as Beltane, May 1st. So for
Woohoo.
anyone who doesn't know Beltane or celebrate, the older Sabbats, it's an ancient Celtic fire festival. And, you think of May 1st, you think of May Day, you think of the maypole dancing and all the colors, but it sits on that midpoint between the spring equinox and the summer solstice. So it's traditionally about desire, about aliveness. It's a life force, which is why it's a fire festival. So what makes you come alive,
Yeah.
right?
I love Beltane. Beltane is like lighting everybody's fire back up for the season.
Right?
Yeah.
That's Nat's jam is Beltane. So, and I'm pretty psyched about it this year too, especially because the full moon is on Scorpio. So we are going to have coming out of a shadow into the fire, which is a whole lot of because Scorpio sign of depth. It's what's hidden from us. Desire, honest, it's unfiltered. So yeah. And then you're going to have it meeting this ancient moment that's saying, what are you hungry for? You got a full moon, which is always about illumination, right? What have you built up to in your in all of our intention setting in that new moon? So what gets lit up? What can you no longer hide? What can you no longer keep secret? That's that fire energy. Yeah, we're going from shadows and secrets into full on fire. And
Yeah. That's like so much happening. Oh, this is exciting. Okay,
right?
sorry.
No, it's all good because the thing is, like, this Uranus Gemini thing is giant and it's going to last 7 years. We're with this until May of 2033. So just deal. But, and when you look at, if you were to go listen to the podcast from last week with Astrological Insights, or you are on our community and you get the post, you know what the history of Uranus and Gemini is and what happened in the 40s during that time frame, right? That was all around rebellion, all
Mhm.
around communication and what happened in those times. It's going to be powerful. It just is. And hang on to your bobby socks. So,
Wow.
yeah. And then that full moon and that Scorpio or full moon in Scorpio and Beltane, I'm Scooby-Doo excited.
Yeah, it is going to be, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and it explains so much about like all of the energies that we're talking about and all of the shifts that are happening and the things that we can't hide anymore. Like I don't fully understand Gemini and Taurus, like what we're moving from, but the more I've heard about or not Gemini and Taurus, Uranus and Taurus. But I'm like understanding how Uranus is going to be different in Gemini. So I'm really kind of looking forward to it. And falling in Beltane was Scorpio and a full moon, like
It's
so
a lot.
much.
It's
It's
a
a lot.
lot, right? And then the other piece of it that's really relevant for us is Venus. Venus is our govern of desire, of value, of love, right? And it's making a really strong connection to Pluto this week. We also have to remember that Venus and Taurus are like best buds. So as Uranus is coming out of Taurus, I feel a different kind of connection there too. But Pluto's deep structural transformation. So what's happening with this is the things that you want are really being transformed. Think of the Phoenix rising, right? That's a really big Pluto thing because it's rebirth. It's reimagining. And it's not necessarily going to be removed, it's transformed. So it's the way you want them, why you want them, and what they mean, and that is all shifting. So it can feel like loss, but it could be getting you closer to that upgrade that you're actually looking for. And then we have Mercury, the planet of communication. So it's making a conjunction to Chiron. Chiron's our wounded healer guy. Conversations are either going to poke an old wound for you or they're going to begin healing one. Remember, we have our rebel Uranus going into Gemini, which is our talkative, communicative little dude, duality. So already the conversations are going to be a lot. So thinking about that and a word, knowing that words could land a little tender with you, or that ones that you speak can be doing the same kind of thing to somebody else, but they'll also bring release. So pay attention to which conversations are really feeling like that for you. Um, so that's short version. I'm like, that's the short version. I'll have more on the Astrological Insights podcast later on, but ultimately, underneath all of this, your question, your Beltane question is, what are you actually alive for? And I'll let Natalie
Yeah.
take that because I know her Beltane fire.
Well, yeah, no, I love Beltane. I love all of the seasonal shifts. Like it really, I'm a big Wheel of the Year fan. So
Mhm.
every time we seasonally shift, I really like get into that.
Yahoo,
But
we're ready.
yeah, ready to go into the fire season. But I want to share something that's been with me recently because I think it's going to connect this very directly. I had a conversation with somebody who I respect quite a bit, and we were talking about their life, their work, the arc of their choices, really. And at some point, they said something that I have not been able to let go of. And they said, I think I have spent most of my adult life being very competent at the things I never actually chose.
My God.
Right?
That it hits differently than I'm doing the wrong thing. It's quieter, but it actually makes me sad. It makes me sadder. Does that make sense?
It does, but like, okay, so it's so much quieter.
Super quieter. I, yeah.
But but you're right. It's like not dramatic. There's nothing out loud there. It does not look like a crisis from the outside. And this person is incredibly successful. Like yeah, they live like anyway, and
Yeah.
capable and respected. And they are genuinely good at what they do. Like he is all in. And what they were naming is the stuff we're talking about. Somewhere between being good at something and being expected to keep doing it, the question of whether they actually wanted it just got skipped. And
God.
yeah, I know. And you think back of like, I know we've had these big careers in corporate and we love our jobs, like even though Stephanie's leaving, which
But we
kind
didn't pick them.
of we didn't.
And it's the exact same situation, right? I mean, it was one that we fell into, grateful, huge. I mean,
Got good at.
got great at, and we could use the hashtag gratitude, all that thing all day long.
Oh, for sure.
But at the same time, that, that was not my degree. That's not where I was thought I was going to go. Yeah.
But I think like in that conversation with him, I was having almost because I've always known that about us. Like we kind of fell into this. It's not something like we chased. We chased other stuff on the side, but I thought it was just us. And then I hear people who I immensely respect in their positions. Like these people stand on stage and talk to thousands of people, and they're saying the same thing.
Isn't that wild? It's so
Yeah.
wild.
And I
Yeah.
think it's just such an honest description of how a lot of us live. We start doing something because it's available. We get better at it. People recognize us for it. It becomes part of our identity. And at no point do we stop and ask, do I actually want this? And I mean, and this is back to that people asking you, like, are you crazy for leaving? Or go hell yeah, girl.
You betcha. Why aren't you leaving? Woohoo! Yeah.
Right? Like, ask yourself, does this belong to me? And there's also just a lot of us getting a job and getting good at it once you start paying your rent and paying bills and you just can't stop.
Yeah. Uh, Yeah, and that is so valid, right? Because, and the answer, I mean, I think you asked the question there of, do you really want this?
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
maybe that answer is yes. Maybe that is. And that's the important part of this entire equation and this entire conversation. You can go through the whole process. You can ask that question honestly about it, and the answer might still be yes. I
Yeah,
choose
it
this.
might.
I
Yeah.
love this. I'm glad I'm here.
Yeah.
But you have to actually ask it and answer it. You got to ask the question of yourself and then answer it and make sure if you're having, I mean, some people never have these trepidations and they don't go through it and they don't feel like any of those things are relevant to them. And yay, you, right?
Right.
This is for those that are like, what am I hungry for? What is this? What am I asking myself? You got to ask. You got to ask the question and then sit with that and answer it honestly.
Well, and I think, like you mentioned about this, just all of the energies that you were talking about, Uranus and Gemini and Scorpio, the full moon, Beltane, like all of that, I think this question is really going to come for a lot of us.
Oh, I so agree. And Beltane gonna light you up. It's gonna want an answer, an honest one. It's yeah, I mean, I'm sorry, but this is the time to burn it down, so to speak. So okay. I feel the energy. Do you? Are you
Yeah,
just
I do. Like
vibrating?
since we started talking, yeah,
I mean,
everything's a little bit tingly.
yeah. God. All right, let's get into the soul pillars. Let's talk about those because
Yeah.
I think we can get really specific in each one of them. So I'll start with the mind, and this is going to show up in a realization of your thoughts and decisions that have been running like a script for you, right? Scripts that you don't own, you don't write. Somebody's doing them for them. Where that narrative is, I should want this, or wanting is more selfish, and maybe I'm not allowed to want this, or who do I think I am to deserve better than this? Those are not neutral observations.
Right.
That's inherited programming,
Hmm.
right? The mind work in the days ahead is getting curious about who wrote those scripts for you. So, where did those come from? And do you agree with those scripts?
That is so freaking powerful with the
Woo!
energy that like this is going to be an amazing look ahead week, folks.
Yeah, it
Get
is.
get on the
Huge.
soul pillars. All right, in the heart, this is going to yeah, this is about grief as much as it is about desire. Because sometimes when you finally let yourself feel what you actually want, you also have to feel how long you have not had it, or how
Hmm.
long you have been wanting something and telling yourself that it wasn't okay to want it. The hard work is like letting just that be honest, not performing okayness, really, letting the actual feeling exist.
And not feeling guilty.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean, in two
huge.
ways, right? Number one, of looking, like for me, looking and saying, wow, I've done this for 28 years. You're going to stop now?
You're
And
right.
feeling like you couldn't just finish 10 more years and call it a day at 66, right?
Right.
Or the guilt of, the other direction, or the sadness of the money. I mean, there's so many different ways that you can look at that you can't be performative about it. You just have to own the feeling. I so agree. That's a really good one. That's really good.
The soul pillars are going to hit hard this week.
God,
Like
they
for
are.
real. For real.
Oh, yep. Go download them. All right. In the body this week, all about aliveness. I mean, I think we beat that like to death, but it's not in health and like in a clinical sense. It's alive. Your body's going to feel so alive. When your body feels lit up and present versus when it's just here and we're just going through the motions, that's your information for this week ahead. The gut knowing that shows up before the mind can even explain it, that is the body's version of your desire. And it's going to be worth paying attention to this week, especially.
Yep, absolutely. And in the spirit, this is Beltane thread. So spirit's, going to ask, what is the life force to you? What in your life genuinely nourishes you at a level deeper than enjoyment or comfort? Because there is a difference between things that feel good and things that feel true. And the soul tends to know which is which, even when the mind is still debating about it.
God.
So let us give you something to actually work with going into this week. The
I
most useful thing. Oh, sorry.
I'm like, I need it. Yep. Keep going. Most useful thing is
We're
what?
doing
Tell
it.
me more.
The
Sorry.
most useful thing that you can do with what is being stirred up in the days ahead is not to solve it. It is to get honest about it. So here is what we are calling like the hunger inventory. I know we're a little weird.
I
You know
like it.
that
It's
already.
cheeky. It gives me a whole Hunger Games thing. It's a weird vibe. Yep. But it's
So, yeah.
what are you hungry for? Well, here's your inventory. Yep.
Yeah, here's your hunger inventory. So, get your inventory, play the game. Let's go. Three
Yeah.
questions. You do not need a journal. You can sit with this in your car, on a walk, in a shower, just 5 minutes. All right, so first question. What am I doing that I have not consciously chosen for myself? Not what am I doing wrong? Just what is on autopilot? What parts of your life are running on a script that you never actually sat down and wrote?
Yeah, we might have lied about needing a journal. Some of these are kind of big questions.
Well, but when we talked about it though, I still you can do this without it. Like if you're just
I
listening to us
agree
because you're
because
here
you
for
know the answer to that,
like
people. You
just sit
do.
with it for a minute.
Yeah, because
You may
you
have to flag
know.
us to come
Yeah,
back.
yeah. You know the part though. I
Yeah.
mean,
Uh-huh.
I think it's such a good question. I think they're all great questions. All right. Second question. What do I keep not letting myself want?
Hmm.
Usually something, that thing that floats up at 3 a.m. in the morning, you say that thing, I'm just not sure about that. When actually you're very, very sure and it just scares the living bejesus out of you. What is it?
AI.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. Journal notes. All right. Third question. What made me feel actually alive recently? Not good, not accomplished, alive. Like something in you was lit up and present rather than going through the motions. When was the last time that happened and what caused it?
God, I love that.
Yeah. These
What
are
lights
these are
you
all
up?
I love our questions this week.
Me too. Me too. I mean, what lights you up? You do not have to do anything with those answers right now. This coming week is not necessarily about action. That Scorpio full moon, though, is about illumination. And you're going to see it clearly. And then you can decide what do you want to do with it? What do you want to see?
Yeah, but the seeing is what matters because you cannot choose something that you have not allowed yourself to look at.
Yep. And
Yeah.
sometimes the most radical thing you can do heading into this week like this, speak the truth, to simply tell yourself the truth, right? I think that's the best thing you can do. So, all right. I think we've got to a point where I can wrap up and and we can get into a closing here. But I do want to close with something simple as you go into this week. Um, a lot of things are going to try to surface in these days ahead, whether it's old feelings and some of those wounds we talked about, true ones, desires you've managed, questions you've postponed. The impulse is going to be to manage them again, to file them, to rationalize, to be responsible about it. Now, I'm not saying you have to blow up your life. I am saying, we are saying, notice what is real. Let it be real for just a minute because what it's asking you is to be seen. And that's coming this week. And it's not going to stop asking just because you look away, just because you chose to file it. Scorpio doesn't work that way. And neither does that whole May 1st energy around fire and Beltane. So, what are you actually hungry for? What are you hungry for? Is it worth knowing? Even if that answer inconveniences you, because it probably,
Especially then,
right?
especially when it inconveniences you. Absolutely.
Yep, because it's probably going to. That's just the simple facts, Jack.
Right?
All right, we had a lot.
It was just a lot of energy. Like there was a lot of buzzing and like,
We are buzzing. Yeah, we are. A couple of bumblebees. Look out. All right. If something in this episode landed for you, and I would love to say it was a quiet oh moment, but I don't think we had anything quiet in this episode. We would love to hear about it in this coming week, right? Find us on immersive_spirit on Instagram, at immersive spirit on YouTube. Throw it in the comments, right? We're on Facebook. We're on all the socials. We're everywhere. Come join our community. It's free those first 30 days. We would love to see you there and share some comments. And I share prompts and journal prompts every day in our astrological site, our Stargazers community part, where it's one of our little spaces out there. Keep you
And we
going.
have free events like
Free
for our
events.
community,
Yeah,
like
we had group
4 to
Reiki
5
this
a month.
Yep.
Yeah.
Had some group Reiki this morning. It was awesome. Definitely join us for those. And then do not forget to go and download the Soul Pillars because they are going to be a heaven sent thing for you this entire week ahead. You can find those at immersivespirit.com/soul pillars, totally free. Mind, heart, body, spirit. It's going to help. It's going to be a great thing for you. And if you haven't subscribed, holy cow, what are you waiting for? Subscribe, follow, ring the bell, do all the things, and share, share, share. We love to have our message shared with everybody. Any way that you can help support the show, we are always in deep gratitude for that. And I think that's it. Did I miss anything?
I don't think so. I think you got it all.
All right. I will make sure that all of our links, including the sign up to get on our intuitive operating system program, which is coming May 18th, I think is our launch date. Anyway, I'll make sure every link that we've got all of those in our notes. And from immersive spirit and high heels to happy feels, I'm Stephanie.
I'm Natalie.
And until next week, we will see you uh in the new Uranus and Gemini energy. Bye-bye.